I've seen a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to The Wow Pod.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, some fun news. It's what is it? The 21st day of the 5th month of 2020, and yeah, it's been a pretty crappy year so far.
Oh, yeah. We shared on our Facebook page that next is we find crab people underground. Like there's a timeline of what happens in chronological order, and the next is we find the crab people.
It's a South Park episode. Yeah. It's so far. So we're gonna brighten your day with some happy news and hopefully a fun story. Yeah.
Before we get started, I want to make a call out to our listeners in Ireland and Germany. The Ireland listens have gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're second to the United States now.
Wow.
Yeah.
They like us in Ireland.
Listen.
That's great.
Ireland, it has lots of folklore.
Yeah.
Send us your folklore. We want to talk about the things that you all talk about.
Yeah, I remember we looked into fairies at one time,
Yeah.
and quite a few of them are from Ireland. Fairies and fae folk and humana.
Good stuff. So
that would be
hello to you, Ireland listeners and German listeners. And
top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
What do they say in Germany? I don't know much German.
I don't know any German.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know da. No, that's Russian. Nine.
Okay, so we're gonna start off this show with some news that affects those even in Ireland. This is not central to the United States or where we're located.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read it to you from the New York Post. You can find it just about everywhere. But the headline reads, NASA scientists detect evidence of a parallel universe where time runs backwards.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay.
Imagine that. What does time running backwards mean, though?
So as the first sentence reads, this is like right out of the Twilight Zone. Yeah,
but how would that mean if time ran backwards? Would it be?
How do they know?
Yeah. How do they know? And how does the physical makeup of said parallel universe work? Do they start out as do the suns start out as novas and then collapse in and then swell up a little bit and then live their life until they let go of themselves and become cosmic dust again?
Okay.
And us, do we start out old, or would a living being start out aged and miserable and then get healthier as it goes along? Because I want to live there if that's the case.
Yeah. In a parallel universe, perhaps. But here's how they came to this conclusion. And there's a reason I'm not a scientist with NASA. Because this is way beyond my level of comprehension. But I'm just going to give it to you. They took subatomic neutrinos.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They have low energy.
I think I have some in the third closet.
And they have low energy. Neutrino sounds like a kind of snack.
Like a little fig bar that has some juice to it.
Yeah. So they have low energy and a mass close to zero. Now, they claim that these subatomic neutrinos can pass completely through the Earth because of their low energy.
Mm-hmm.
So they just right through. I don't know if
Okay.
it's fast. I don't know if it's kind of a slow journey.
So it can go right through us.
Right through us, right through everything. Where, as it is explained, higher energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet. Now,
So these are neutrinos that are not incorporated into an atom, thus making it little or no weight.
yeah.
And it has
How do you
no.
measure it? How do you find them? How do you detect them? I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing. Could
But
the
they
scientists just be teasing us with this one?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
The scientists there, look, man, I got something here.
Let's name them
Just trust me.
neutrinos.
Trust me, it's in my hand.
They're looking at Totino's pizzas. Let's name
It's
them
right there. You can't
neutrinos,
see it.
like neutrons, but Totinos put together.
Oh,
Okay, so here's what they say. These high energy particles can only be detected coming down from space.
okay.
But these so-called tau neutrinos come up out of the Earth. And this finding, according to them, implies that these particles are actually traveling backward in time, which, I don't know how they draw this conclusion, suggests clearly evidence of a parallel universe. So, the Anita investigator Peter Gorham.
So do they
Dude.
think that these neutrinos, like our neutrinos, are going to this parallel universe and then traveling out of whatever's in that parallel universe, while theirs are traveling into whatever's there and then out of us?
See, I was trying to follow this because
Imagine what the whiteboard in this guy's house looks like.
imagine talking. He's a particle physicist, first of all. What do you talk
Okay.
about with the particle physicist?
I think we need to play a little game. Let's bet how many pens are in the pocket.
So, okay. He suggests that the only way a tau neutrino could behave that way is if it changed into a different type of particle before passing through the Earth and then back again.
Okay. All right.
This makes no sense to me. But
Makes no sense to you.
apparently,
You're the smarter of the two in
his
this room.
fellow researchers at Cornell University, they're following him. They get it. It's like, oh yeah, something to talk about over coffee, neutrinos and tau neutrinos, and how this one must have changed. And so, for us lame people, we just need to leave knowing that there are parallel universes and time looks to or appears to be going backwards, running in reverse.
I'm not even smart enough to color with crayons in the same state as this individual.
So, okay. I'm going to first tell you that this means that if there are any inhabitants of these possible parallel universes, that they would consider us backwards. So if there are inhabitants and they do find out about tau neutrinos and neutrinos and all of that.
What do they mean by backwards?
Well, for instance, like aging.
So they would age.
They would be maybe perhaps old and then turn young again.
What if that?
What if it's every other
Betsy,
universe flips?
Now we've chatted with many hypnotic regressive.
Yes.
What if that's where you go and live your old to young life there, and then young pop out over here, young to old,
And then old.
yep.
Pop out.
And instead of maybe coming back here, we go on to the parallel universe on the other side of our parallel universe, therefore becoming parallel universeception.
Oh, you should be in charge of the naming.
Man.
Okay, so I'm going to leave
NASA,
you.
my number is 555.
I'm going to leave you with a quote by Ibrahim Safa. He also worked on this experiment. This particular phenomenon can be described as we're left with the most exciting or most boring possibilities. Boom. There you go.
Oh, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah. That's
Anyway, if y'all can wrap your heads around that, good luck.
If any
You're
of you can wrap
way
your head around
smarter than clearly
that,
the host of
please,
this show are.
break it down for us.
Neutrinos, tau neutrinos. I mean, I was trying to imagine that if they came in, would they just pass through and come out? And is that what they're observing? And then does that mean time goes backwards, or just that they pass through and then they caught them on the other side?
Yeah, send me a letter and let me know what is what.
Good stuff.
All right, I've got a bit of a story here. In in Mexico, they found an elongated skull, and where they wrap the head as a infant, and it makes the skull like the crystal skull off that last Indiana Jones movie. And here, I'll read it. I'm getting this from the Mazatlan Post.
The Mazatlan Post.
Yeah.
Mazatlan, Mexico.
Yeah. That's where resort is.
Yeah.
So a 1,600-year-old elongated skull with stone-encrusted teeth.
Cha-cha-cha. Look at those.
Found in ancient
Look at
Mexican
that grill.
Yeah, so let me
Cardi B wants that grill.
Let me explain this to you. It has on all the front teeth that would show. So 6 of the top and 4 of the bottom teeth. They have drilled holes and they've put stones in them. Now it looks like they used all green or possibly emerald stone on the bottom. And on the top, it switches between like an emerald and a blue stone. What would that stone be? Is that
like a sapphire or an aquamarine?
What's my birthstone?
I believe yours is the sapphire.
Sapphire. See, they put a little bit of me in there.
That's right. It's your ancestors.
So, yeah. So they drilled the holes, and these holes, a couple of them are substantial. We're talking
most of the tooth.
Easily the face of the tooth. How did they drill those holes? They do them with the old sand drill method, where they took a stick and put sand in there and then used a circular motion and the sand ground the tooth out?
Can you
or
imagine?
Did they use like a little hammer and a little sharp thing, a rock? But yeah, they ground them down. And it is crazy looking, these gems. And then there's another one. It said the woman was 35 to 40 when she died. The intentionally deformed skull and teeth encrusted with mineral stones. And it's impressive that they did that. When she died, between the age of 35 and 40, the woman was buried with 19 jars that served as offerings. So what did they have in the jars? Man. Yeah, it's crazy. Maybe they were.
It's creepy.
Yeah. Okay. They had 2 round pyrite stones in her teeth.
Pyrite?
Yes. That was in her front. So that might have been the blue ones. So the Maya, apparently this was a practice amongst the Mayan nobility.
Oh.
So the Mayans.
They were a brutal tribe.
Well, most of them were. We've got pre-Columbian Ecuador. They would put these little gold studs in it. Not like a golden tooth, but just like they'd make the tooth look kind of like a domino.
Just adorned it. Yeah,
yeah.
You get 2 because you got small teeth. Big old Bucky Beaver over there, he gets 5.
Yeah. the dentist is I don't know. Maybe that was how they showed some sort of rank. Or that might have showed a level of status.
I would imagine it would be status, because there were clear distinctions between classes in the Mayan civilizations.
Yeah,
they tossed.
But you wouldn't want to do that with like lots of clothes because of their location.
Correct.
So maybe they did it with their teeth, or some Polynesian tribes and Maori, they would do it with tattoos.
Yeah.
They would tattoo rank, and not just rank, but also heroic activities they had done. And maybe that was the same with the Maya. They didn't have tattoos.
Aside from the drilling of the teeth, which would be extremely painful.
Oh,
the wrapping of the skull. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Well,
they do it to an infant. What
do these babies just cry nonstop?
Well, does the
it's
baby's
so unnatural?
Does the baby's brain grow into?
Does it fill
while
that
their
space?
skull's soft? Does it grow into the form it's been constricted into?
Interesting.
Yeah, we need to do a show on elongated skulls. Here's another one. This one does not have the elongated skull. This skull, it looks like they have the two top front teeth, and one of the bottom teeth is totally replaced of a green gem known as serpentine. And they've totally replaced. So
just
for those just listening,
So how did I wonder if they countersunk it into the jaw? If they recognized that a root was there as they pulled the tooth?
Maybe they had some sort of advanced dentistry. Though looking at it, if this lady bit you, you were in trouble because
it was a bit rough.
You're going to bleed out. Because her teeth were
they got a big space between
well placed, far apart.
Yes.
And a couple of them looked like they would have been sharp enough to bust you up pretty good. Yeah, that's a trip I really want to take. I want to go to Mexico City.
Yeah.
I love old pyramids, and I love listening and studying the Maya, the Aztec, the Mexica, all those cultures. I really think they're really interesting cultures. They had a really strong religion, and yes, they did human sacrifice, but who hasn't? I mean, let's be honest. Everyone played
one
that
of
game.
mine bucket list is, we were talking about this before the show, is Machu Picchu.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To go float the Amazon and visit Machu Picchu.
Yep.
It's definitely on my short list of things to do.
It's definitely up there. If anybody wants to send me to Machu Picchu,
yes,
my number is 555.
Yeah. My next story is unfortunately about the coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
I know we're so sick of the coronavirus. I know everybody is. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. It's infiltrated every part of our lives. But
I do want to throw a quick mention out. Now, there is a guy here in Grantsville who we're going to possibly host the first concert in our little county.
Yeah, it's a rebellion of sorts.
Yeah. Rebel country.
It's going to be managed, from what I understand, responsibly. He's requesting people who, choose to wear masks, but he's got a large expanse, so people will be spread out.
It's going to be an outdoor where the concert is going to be is as beautiful a place as you can have it. It's up on the side of a mountain, on what would have been a cattle ranch in days gone past. So, but yeah, so I say, I'm going to it.
Yeah, so am I.
I fully support this guy.
Gonna go check it out. I think that the meat behind it is to support these small businesses who were kind of left behind in all of the rescue money and things. So people don't recognize that it's extremely difficult for these small businesses first to get it, and then if you're self-employed and you don't have employees, you're just completely left out. So you're forced to close your doors, and you don't have employees to pay, so there's no incentive, government-wise for any kind of help money. And then, let's be honest, those that did qualify, a lot of them just couldn't get through the quagmire of all the red tape. So this is the meat and potatoes of this is to come out in solidarity to support these small business owners, to recognize that they truly are the backbone of both the American lifestyle, but capitalism and the country at large.
That's the big thing. These are people who poured their energy and their worth into something. So let's support them and get it going. But
yeah,
I don't want to go off on a political tirade because this is the fun show.
And back to coronavirus. So my next article is it's a public service announcement. It's important that we all be wary of this and be watching for this within our own homes. I think it may have happened to my daughter through this coronavirus. I could be dealing with this on a personal level. I
think it happened to your daughter through
it may have happened.
The getting closer to teenager.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had like a mental breakdown recently, and it could have just been this. So the headline reads, Exorcist fears coronavirus pandemic will see rise in possessed victims.
Should we play it real quick? Play his little video?
Play his little clip.
Okay, this comes from the Daily Star, a very reputable.
Yep, and the guy's name is Paul Devino or Devlin. Very.
Paul was that on Friends? That was the name of
I don't know.
They started calling using the restroom that, I think, because her frenemy was Devlin.
I don't know.
Very, very difficult times for everybody. The coronavirus has created a lot of fear, a lot of negativity. There's not a lot of positive stuff around at the moment. Everybody lives in fear. That's the kind of thing that dark forces, whatever you want to call them, use that to their advantage. So if people have been in isolation for a long time, their mental health is probably affected. Yes, the demons normally can manifest from taints, taints are negative blobs of energy. If there are enough negative blobs of energy,
I think he said taints.
From taints?
Got that too.
Did he say tanks or taints?
I don't know. Okay, I'm
no. Does it hurt when the demon
comes out of your taint?
And is a demon coming out of your own taint or other
Please
taints?
Let it come from mine. If it has to come from one.
Well, if it's going into me, yeah, please. I don't know.
I think I know the exact moment when I was possessed. I think it was 11 a.m. when my son asked for his fourth breakfast. And I stared slyly upon the sink full of dishes and realized that he had eaten all of the snacks and dirtied all of the dishes and was still hungry because
girl spurt time.
He's bored out of his ever-loving mind. Possession took over. I think I exorcised my own taint demon, but I'm not sure.
How do you do that? Do you lay on your back and kick your legs up and try to get a best, like for me, I have to move some stuff out of the way, get the best view, and then the power of Christ compels you, yelling well, my hand would be kind of over and around. I'm just wondering, how do you hover over a mirror?
Ooh, perhaps.
You know?
Perhaps. It's all about the positioning.
But anyway, so this guy's a priest of some sorts.
Yeah, he's an exorcist.
Yeah.
So he'd have to be, exorcists are generally Catholic. If you're a certified exorcist.
Let's see.
What he says is basically, we're all really negative right now, and this is how these taint
He's
demons,
a Buddhist priest.
Ooh.
A Buddhist exorcist.
These taint demons. Who knew that the side effect of the coronavirus was going to be demons from taints?
The taint demons are upon us.
Oh, but listen.
Ooh.
Listen. He's locked down. So he said that
he's been on lockdown.
Yeah, and he's reluctant to carry out virtual exorcisms.
What if the demons do not come from your taint, but the angels do, and he's possessed by a demon that's trying to get you to exorcise the angels, the taint angels.
The taintangels.
That taint an angel.
So he says that he can't do this much like the rest of the world is doing remotely because of the violent nature.
Well, because what if it's a youngster? That'd be internet porn.
Now, he says,
The violent nature.
these demonic energies will go down fighting if they are being evicted from their host. So I'm just saying, if you're feeling much like I was,
Just see him on there. Now tie yourself up. Very good.
lift your left leg a little higher.
Test
I
the
can
knot.
almost see
Test the knot.
it.
Now set the video camera on the chair and sit on it.
Okay, so this is how you know.
I didn't know Buddhists had exorcisms and demons. There's so many Buddhist religions, though.
Yeah, perhaps it's a breakaway
Yeah,
Buddhist religion.
like
So-
a Aum Shinrikyo type of Buddhism.
Yeah. So listen, if you're lashing out at family, if you're irritable, let's be honest, we're all possessed right now.
Yes. Well,
Everyone possessed.
I'm wondering what an offering to your taint
Would look
demon would look like.
like a Tux medicated pad, perhaps.
You sit down and put the bread and flowers in front of you.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
So anyway,
We got to look into that Buddhist exorcism. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was.
I didn't either. I just thought it was an interesting take on how we're all feeling right now. And I, like I said, either my daughter is possessed or I'm pretty sure I was.
Well-
At some point today, I was possessed.
I
think I've exercised it.
I saw a story today that a death metal rocker, he's one that I listened to when I was in high school. He went into a coma and come out of the coma and doesn't like Satan anymore. I mean,
Oh,
but I didn't have a chance to fully read into
did
it.
they exercise his taint while he was comatose?
The power of Haynes compels you.
And today's exercise is not for the faint at heart. So
Yeah, that's funny that he he couldn't have said taint.
I think he did.
Would it be tank? Demons come out of tanks. Like what kind of tank?
I don't know.
I think we're gonna have to
Listen to it again. I think it came from taints.
okay.
If there are enough negative blobs of energy, then it can form one as a consciousness and enter you. And if that happens, you may have a problem on your hand.
Go back a little further.
You can manifest. The demons normally can manifest from taints, which is.
He said taints.
He said taints.
Is in England does taint mean something else?
Listen, most of our listeners probably don't know what a taint is. Look it up in the Urban Dictionary.
Well, let me explain it to you. It taint ass and it taint something else.
I only know what it is because I'm his sister. Okay, let's just be honest.
Oh man, that
He
is
said taint.
insane.
What's your other story? You gonna,
Okay, I'm gonna look up real quick.
you can talk about the death metal rocker.
Yeah, I've
He had a come to Jesus meeting of sorts.
yeah. Oh, let's see.
Not all death metal is satanic, is it?
I don't know. It's geared towards the kids. Anyways, that'll have to come out next week.
We'll find it.
Yeah, it's as you gotta dig and dig.
Turns to God
Oh,
after
okay.
meeting Satan.
Here we
He
go.
met Satan. He was like, I don't like that dude.
Okay, Will Carroll
Oh,
of
it was a-
Death Angel.
Coronavirus coma.
Yeah.
Death Angel? That's
Yeah.
that's like a
That's a band that I listened to
well-known
growing
band.
up. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Anyhow, so he
Look at this. We're finding the good in the
get into the-
coronavirus.
demon exorcisms. No,
Taint
Death Angels.
demons, coronavirus comas, turn you to God.
Death Angel's quite a bit older now. If I remember, they were a band that was, where were they from?
They're likely not the same.
They weren't
band
from
members.
the Philippines. Where were they? I've got her. They were from, the start of it. They were from some islands. But anyway, so he got coronavirus while touring in Europe, and so he comes out of it, and while he's there, he meets the devil and says he comes out, and the devil wasn't a nice guy, so I don't like him no more.
So is he going to do Christian rock now?
I don't know, but Dave Mustaine made the turnaround.
Wow.
Dave Mustaine did that a long time ago, or I don't know where he's at now.
Got to give it up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. You know, I guess it happens.
Okay, so today's show.
Hold on, I've got
Oh, you got another one?
Yeah, I've got another one. We've got to let it load up. All right, so if you're in Oregon.
Oh, I saw this.
Yes, I'm sure everyone has, but I like it, so I want to talk about it. There's a strip club in Portland that offers drive-through services. So I don't know how they probably built walls so that, you know, they don't get services for free, and then a girl dances out there and she's wearing masks and a rubber gloves, so that opens up stripping to a few more of the ladies who maybe were missing extra teeth or something like that.
If they're from Cambodia, they can now strip.
I've got crazy questions. One, do they strip to the music you're playing in your car?
Oh, hey.
Or do they have music playing? Or is it like a drive-in where they've got a small FM transmitter?
And they're all dancing to the same.
And as you pull up, you kick it to 94.2 and away it goes. Then, if you can select the music, I want to see a stripper strip to Beethoven. or maybe some
life
old
goals.
Or maybe some old folky country music from like the 20s. Like There's a Tear in My Beer. You know, and just have her slow it down. Or you want to get your money's worth, you pull in there and turn on the unedited Iron Butterfly.
What is it, like 12 minutes long?
It's like 21 minutes long or some shit. And
yeah, and like, so okay, so are you like allotted time and then there's a security guard saying move along?
I don't know. And what if your car breaks down in front of the stripper?
What if your car breaks down?
No.
Do they have to get a tow truck so that you get more time?
Yeah. Or do all the ladies in those hills come out and push you forward so the next guy can hop in? You know.
Oh, too funny.
And I feel bad for them because how many guys are foregoing the sweatpants when they go to this
Oh,
one?
yeah.
You
Totally in the buff.
Yeah, that guy'd be, you know, he would be hanging wedding tackle in the car. But you know, I support it because these young ladies need to finish paying for their dental hygienist school, and you know,
true story.
They've still got to pay their debts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I support it like that. But if you could pick your own music, you'd have to get entertaining. Those girls would have to really learn how to switch up their moves. You know,
that's right.
Slow it down, kick it back.
That's where your talent really shines.
Oh,
ladies.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you let them pick the music.
Oh, yeah. All right. So that's our stories. Betsy's bringing us some meat today.
So my story comes from an isolated community in British Columbia that has a dominatrix, a strange,
like a lady that
a strange,
wears weird straps and whips people. Okay.
A strange cult leader who believes he's the reincarnation of an Egyptian god, and a ton of wealthy people.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
So
that's quite the eclectic mix.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Brother 12 is what he renames himself, but he was born Edward Arthur Wilson in 1878 in Birmingham, England. He was raised in an atmosphere of a strict religious devotion, Roman Catholic. So his parents were actually preachers. And, part of that theology is Christ's return to earth, within the lifetime of his followers, of course, always.
Well, yeah.
It's in your
I mean,
lifetime. And
otherwise, you just write notes to my great grandkids. Be good. I bet that.
right. So it makes sense that he would go on and do all these strange things if that's where his beginnings were. But he claims that as he was growing up, that he was visited many times by angels, and he learned of the masters and their work for humanity.
Mm.
So Wilson, Edward,
So where did these masters come from?
That's an interesting thing, because you bring up the Egypt, but the skulls, and we talked about, so
I can tell you it taint Canada.
It taint Canada. So Wilson was a Royal Navy windjammer.
Okay.
And became a navigator and a sea captain later in life.
Okay.
So he spent years just wandering, immersing himself in cultures as he kind of spanned the globe, with these big ships. And he spent a lot of time on the ocean, stopping and learning about religions. And he went on occult missions. And spring 1926. So what's interesting to me is the 20s is when they found King Tut's tomb. They found it in 1922. And then there was this rise of everything Egyptian. They wanted to know about the people and the theology and their writings, and everybody was Egyptian and everybody came from the Egyptians, and it became like this worldwide fire. And I think he was caught up in this because in the spring of 1926, following he'd gotten sick, and what had happened is he'd come down with a fever,
had a coma,
and in the midst of his fever, he saw the Egyptian Ankh, which is that
it's the cross with the loop. It looks like
the
a
loop,
stick
and
person.
yes, and that came. He saw that, and then it exploded, and he was in this giant Egyptian room with all of these columns, and he was spoken to and told at that time that he was a god. Now, during this vision, he spoke to the Brother 12 in the Egyptian theosophy. So the Brother 12, there were, 15 or 16 gods, but he spoke directly to Brother 12, so that's where his name comes from.
So the 12th god in their pantheon.
Yes. So
who would that be? I mean, you had Osiris, Ra, Nefertiti,
Chila or Kila.
Ooh, see the hippo one?
It's the 12th master, but I'm not sure what exactly he did. But when he woke up...
They've got Thoth. That's a big one, too. Or Thoth or Thoth.
Yeah. So at this was the point where he started to communicate with the disembodied entity that identified itself as one of the 12 masters in the Great White Lodge.
Okay.
So...
the Great White Lodge.
So he took the name Brother 12.
Okay. I've heard that Great White Lodge before. But
yeah. So the Great White Lodge is
that like a mystical bar? Dude, that'd be a cool bar name, though, right? The Great White Lodge, and the bartender dresses up like the guy off the Lord of the Rings.
So
Gandalf carries a big stick and a long ass pipe.
So the Great White Lodge has to do with Solomon and his temples. It's the supreme masters of the Great White Brotherhood.
Okay.
And apparently number 12.
Well, we're going to have to do a show on the Great White Lodge soon now, just so I'm...
Yeah, they were seekers for illumination, and they created this brotherhood, this holy assembly, so to speak, of advanced mystics. And among the earliest mystics in Egypt and India the word white was really significant for whatever reason. It was considered to be the emblem of purity. So they took on the name the Great White Lodge.
And this was in India, not in...
Well, Egypt and India.
Oh, Egypt and India?
Yes.
Not in, say, Georgia or Louisiana, maybe the
Correct.
Panhandle of Florida, parts of Virginia, Maryland, Carolinas.
So this was a super top secret brotherhood, and now Edward, who will now be known as Brother 12.
Brother 12.
It was bestowed upon him that he was also a god. So he then wakes up from this coma fever and produces these teachings that he says were produced during these automatic writing sessions. So he's just eyes closed writing whatever, and he produces these teachings. One of them is, I am the messenger of fire, the messenger of the whirlwind, the messenger of the day of adjustment. They're all very apocalyptic.
Messenger
teaching.
of fire,
Mhm.
whirlwind, day of adjustment.
Yep, the messenger of the day of adjustment.
Huh.
So
Okay.
all of these is kind of where it starts. He was told during his fever that he needed to go to England and present these letters.
Mhm.
And
Present them to who?
so
To the Queen? Because I'm sure that was easy to get in there, and then you weren't looked at crazy at all.
right. So he goes to these theosophical societies that are found all
Mhm.
over.
The Rosicrucians.
Yes. And they take him seriously. They completely fall for it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just suck it right in.
Oh, those guys, they never heard a story they didn't want to dive into head first.
Right. And what he ends up forming is the Aquarian Foundation, is what they called it. And in his spiritual manifesto that they believe in, that he explains that this foundation is a work of preparation for the more advanced race of humanity, since the current race is doomed. So the current race is going to die. The Aquarian Foundation is going to survive so long as they come together, stay together, and then they will be the more advanced
So him
race.
and how many married dudes who have to give up their husbandly duties. And did you watch that Waco show?
I haven't yet. I need to watch that.
Gosh.
I need to watch that.
I've taken that burden on for you. God.
So he goes and he preaches this, and he immediately gets a ton of followings, to the tune of about 8,000 people.
Wow.
And we're not.
Please like, share, subscribe.
We're not.
I'm not as interesting
And
as this cat, apparently. But,
these
if
guys.
he can get a couple grand, I think I could sport at least a dozen.
So these guys, these followers of his are not just your average followers. They all have lots of money. They're giving him, we're talking the 1920s, and one of the guys, gave him $90,000 and $23,000 from another. And what he did is he talked them into liquidating everything they had. This guy from nowhere.
The 20s was ape shit for stuff like that too.
Yes. So
wasn't that guy who headed up the Jehovah's Witnesses? Didn't he do the same thing? And then he built the palace in California, the what was it called? The House of Abraham or something like that. And he got people to dump their whole lives. They ended up destitute right when the Depression hit. They're done. Oh, so sorry, I'm getting off track.
So he claims that this is the new dispensation. He gets everybody together. They all completely liquidate their life savings, and they join him, and they buy a bunch of property. Now, what's funny is you can listen to some of his teachings, and he's very serious. He's in like this yellow robe, and he's got this wispy black hair, and he's speaking like, you know, he's a god, and he's like, we must find a place, an unknown place, and it's going to be very mysterious. And he's like, it's going to be British Columbia. They're just like, okay.
It's a swamp that freezes in the winter.
So they go all together and they start building this plantation. Well, he takes all of their money, and they live in squalor, as most cults do.
Yeah.
And
they commune it up.
He forces them to do like these really hard labor jobs. Like you mentioned, it's a swamp. Well, he wants certain areas backfilled by hand, and then trees planted and dug up in other places. And he has his followers build him this great big elaborate house, and then they all live in these little huts, and it's just squalor. So
is there a playbook that these bastards stumble onto somewhere?
So this Brothers 12, you would think that this goes on for a long time, but let me tell you, we're talking over the course of just a couple of years. He rises, and then everything falls apart. And it all falls apart for one reason. I'm going to give you one guess.
Started sleeping with their wives.
Bingo. So he finds...
That's in the book. That's on page 13.
Yes.
Once you've got all their money,
he takes all of their money, and then he finds this one wife who is a dominatrix, and he takes her.
So one of these rich guys has a dominatrix wife?
Yes.
Did the rich guy know she was? Was he like in on it, or?
It doesn't say much about him. It just says that they had a falling out because
really?
Brother 12 took his wife because she could be the iron fist. And she was like, literally with her whip, she would whip the members that weren't performing.
Oh,
Now, we're not talking weird people. Well, okay, they're all weird people. But for instance, the daughter of the U.S. ambassador to Spain was part of this group. We're talking people that were involved in banking and naval ships and prominent. He actually came at one point down to the States in an effort to sway the presidential election. And he brought money and supporters, and they were supporting the senator that was the head of the Ku Klux Klan at the time in his presidential race. So
I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write a cult leader for dummies book, and I'm going to lay it out. And it's going to be simple. It's going to be, I don't know, 20 pages.
One lady actually contributed an estimated $520,000
back then.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Brother 12 went on to use this money for a couple of things. One, he bought the De Courcy Islands. He bought all of them, the whole expanse.
Where's is that?
That's
up
off
there?
of the shore of British Columbia.
Okay, so he bought all.
It's neighboring the Valdez Islands, and
that is
off of British. It's over by British Columbia,
northeast of us.
Yes. So if anyone complained, it was said that he would just have them killed by his dominatrix. It was just
like he killed people.
Yes. Well, now we don't know. He was never held accountable for it, but that's what it said. They would just disappear.
Wow.
And they were thinking that it was his dominatrix that was doing it.
Oh.
So,
like tighten the ball gag too much.
He starts to have this falling out. This because he's absconding with all of their money, obviously.
And their wives.
And it just really starts to rattle apart. It's not a long-spanning cult, but it's got all of the cult properties.
It's got one of them for sure.
So first, he takes all of their money, and instead of putting it into banks and things, he changes their checks and cash into gold coins, and then he puts them into canning jars, seals them with wax, so if they're shaken, you can't hear the coins. I don't understand that. He's then puts them into these wooden boxes, and he buries them all over the Kersey Islands. So we're talking, they're guessing about 143 boxes. These, they're not small boxes. They're boxes, big crates full of jars of gold coins have been buried onto the island. Now, as the uprising starts to take place, he is there's a charge placed against him, and he's seized by the police.
So the people have the police come get him.
Correct. So there was enough of them that came forward, and they accused him of absconding, taking money. They claimed that they were a colony, and that he was taking the colony's funds, which essentially is what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes to court. This is where the story kind of takes on a different tone. He goes to court, and at trial, he produces only one defense witness, and that's the lady whose money was in question, Mary Connolly. The
one with the big,
yes,
huge sum.
And she testifies that she had given it to him as a personal gift. And the magistrate then says, $25,000 this time, $25,000 that time, with no conditions. And she agrees, yes, correct. No conditions, as a gift. Now, before he went into court, he told all of his followers that he was going to show them true black magic within the four walls of that courthouse. Mm-hmm. And so his followers, although they're a little turned off by him, and he's been doing weird things, taking their wives and stuff, they're paying attention. Well, at some point during this trial, you can actually read the notes of this trial, the Crown Counsel, or what would be considered the prosecuting attorney at the time, forgot his words and started to bark like a dog. To which this Brother 12 smiled and was showing his,
How much do you think you paid him? Or was this guy really a magician?
I don't know. So here's how it ends. He takes off into the night, and he just runs. It's claimed by one of his many followers, who happened to be a very wealthy doctor, that he had a heart attack and died. People don't think that is the case at all. But it is given to whoever's left of the colony. The property is split amongst them to try and give them back their money. And
who got the big fancy house, and who got the outhouse? I
don't know how they all split it up, but there's still 3 people.
Well, I just saw online when I looked this up, the house has been sold.
Yeah. So there's still 3 people who are direct descendants that still live in some of the homes. But I don't know how it was first divided. But what they found is that they would find these holes all over the island, like somebody had been there looking for something. And they believed that for many, many years after his disappearance, that he had gone back to try and find his gold that had been buried. And since then, Expedition Unknown has been there looking for his gold. I mean, lots of really well-known, expedition companies have been to the Kersey Islands trying to find Brother 12's gold, because they figured $520,000 in 1920 is a pretty good chunk of change.
Well, yeah,
today.
that's gold. That's Gold would have been $32 an ounce back then. So that would have been heavy.
Yeah. So they found some.
But how much do you think he made away with?
That's the question. Because it was
did the
so
husbands
heavy.
get together and kill him? And they've been see, if he was looking for the gold, he would have found it. Because he buried it.
Well, he had his.
Maybe it's the dominatrix husband and that doctor.
Perhaps. So some people say he was mentally ill. Some people say he was evil. Some people say he was possessed by an Egyptian god and it made him do all of the things.
Ooh, possessed by this
but he
god Cockles or whatever the god's name was.
We're talking less than 8 years from start to finish.
Wow.
He amassed islands, an 8,000 person following, and this worldwide wave for the Aquarian Foundation in less than 8 years.
I'm starting a cult. I am so in the wrong business.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what? And you know how I'm going to make it last? How I'm going to there's two things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be with the members' wives, and I'm not going to make them cut off their stuff. Because there was that
cult that did that.
Yeah, the ones Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
They cut off their stuff.
Castration.
So, yeah.
He would meet these people, and within 3 hours, he'd have all their money.
God dang.
So it makes you question, is it a superpower to be mentally ill? Because I couldn't get $10 from someone.
And that's silver. He had to have been
hours.
Such a fun, gregarious
Yep.
guy to hang. I'm sure you're just in a bar and
yeah. And people would arrive. This Mary McConnelly said that after a 3-hour meeting in a Toronto hotel, she wrote him a check for $50,000.
Oh.
She was just sold. So maybe
first, I've got to start hanging out in better areas. Right now,
with better people.
The people I hang out with, they'll join my cult with all their IOUs and bankruptcies.
So maybe he would use his Chila or Kila, the Brother 12 God that spoke to him. Maybe
that
he
God
would speak through him.
Yeah.
Yes, and he would convince the people to give them all their booty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that God sounded like a pirate too.
I don't know.
Arr.
I don't know. It's crazy.
That's insane. That is a lot of damn money.
And treasure seekers are still they dig throughout the islands, the dismantled cabins. They dive into the lagoons. They explore the caves. They ripped up the false floor in one of the buildings, in the colony buildings, and there was this loose roll of like tar paper. And when he opened it, it said, "For fools and traitors, nothing."
Oh,
like it was left there as like a
ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is crazy.
So
I mean that's like the fatal flaw of cults.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Sex.
what did in the Anabaptists of Munster too. Is when he started taking the wives. He took over a whole city.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then like that Heaven's Gate where they did the castration, it was almost the opposite of that.
Well,
and it had the same effect.
That guy was closeted homosexual.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Married that nurse that nursed him. That'd be a fun show to do, the Heaven's Gate. We'll have to get on that. Yeah. And then there was that other cult that was in California where the guy was gay, but they were like a supermodel cult.
Oh, we kind of covered that in our show that had ties to Luca Magnotta.
What was the name of that cult?
Anyway,
I'll remember it. That's a funny cult too. They build a theater.
So we don't know how this guy died. We don't know how long he lived. There was an eyewitness account that somebody said they saw him in San Francisco, in 1934, which would have been 2 years after kind of everything dissolved. But who knows? I mean, as
That's
far as guys
insane.
go, he looks like an average guy. It's women left their husbands to become his followers and to become his, not just his recruits, but to become his wives.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, can you just imagine the spin he gave to get all that kind of money in that short of time?
Oh, yeah. Well, the women, I mean,
And
they
8,000.
would have, if he can get money out of people like that.
8,000 is a big number today.
Oh yeah.
8,000 in the 20s was a huge number.
Yeah, just write a check for 8,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I mean, $500,000 is what they figure he took.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And back then, that's huge. That is huge.
Yeah. So, Brother
Yep.
12.
All right. So I'll get started on my book later. Cult Leaders for Dummies.
That's right.
Step 1.
Find richer friends.
Learn how to target. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, do not go hiring your dumbass buddies.
Targeting 101.
They're not going to pan out for you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Man. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope everyone's doing okay in the
aftermath.
In this pandemic going on. Hope everyone's, keeping sane. Everyone's doing podcasts now. There's a lot more of those popping up. So a lot of entertainment out there. For me, hasn't changed a bit. I've still worked every day. My job is essential or whatever you call it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hasn't
Same
changed.
for me.
Yeah.
I'm still a hermit.
Yeah. Well,
nothing's changed.
Moms don't get a break. Anyways, hopefully next week I've got someone lined up to come in and tell us their personal haunted house stories.
Yeah, and in an upcoming show, we're going to go do a spirit box visit with our ghost hunter from last week.
Yes, we're gonna go with Chelsea and see if the spirit box. Now, I may only be able to go out on this once because if we pick up a lot of stuff, I'm getting me a white van.
This may not be for you.
Yes. I do not want a tank demon.
I wonder if the demons are taint demons now because of the coronavirus.
From the tank. See, the taint is okay. You've got look at your cat. You've got the tail and the butthole.
Lift his tail.
It's on the side of the butthole that's not the tail.
Yeah.
But not the other stuff. That's the taint because it taint that and it taint butt.
Yeah.
And that's the taint.
And that's apparently where coronavirus
unless in
demons
England,
come from.
taints are something else. We need to look up England Buddhist.
Now, they say
lingo.
shopping carts are buggies, so.
Yeah, hoods or bonnets.
Yeah, I mean, taints
The
could
toilet
be
is
anything.
the bog.
Listen, if you're listening and you know what a taint is.
Irish people are close. They would know.
Yeah, let us know.
What's a taint? Because if a taint's something different over there, it might help with what I'm visualizing right now. Right now, I'm kind of picturing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of smoke and foul odor,
burning.
It smells like brimstone. Of course it does. Of course that. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Have a very good week, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, have a good week.
Not a sign of a human.